is nearly here, and tourists from around the world are packing their bags and boarding flights to destinations across Europe. But some residents are unhappy, and anger is growing as they rally against the surge in excessive tourist numbers. In Spain's Canary Islands, tourism is a major economic driver. It's responsible for 35% of the island's GDP and employs 40% of the local population. But that comes with problems.
We Canarians are fed up with being treated as second and third class citizens. We're tired of the overcrowding, institutional mistreatment, low wages, our heritage being destroyed, the lack of available housing, and our land being bought by foreigners.
Locals are feeling the pressure as the rise in short-term rentals like Airbnb has led to a housing shortage and pushed rents up. They're also opposed to the construction of new hotels and beach resorts. They're demanding a halt to all new tourism development projects.
We have the territory oversaturated with constructions and other constructions that are being totally destroyed, with no use within the tourism industry, and what we are doing is speculating about the land, leaving the natural areas totally unprotected.
But tourism remains a backbone for Europe's economy. Venice became the world's first city to introduce a payment system for tourists in an effort to thin the crowds that throng the canals and narrow walkways of the lagoon city. Visitors who do not live, work or study in Venice will have to start paying an entrance fee to the historic centre of around $5.
We need to find a balance, a new balance between the tourist and the resident. We need to safeguard the spaces of the resident, of course, and we need to discourage the arriving on day trippers in some particular days. So the access fee system and the reservation system is just a new tool to better manage the tourism in Venice.
But the decision has been met with both disapproval and dismay among locals. Residents criticise authorities for making Venice feel like a theme park and are demanding to know how the revenue generated from the entry charge will be spent.
They should explain where all this income, these funds will go. Because if they should fix the thousands and thousands of abandoned houses that we have in the city, it could be a positive thing. But it won't be like this, and residents will continue to leave the city.
Venice may not be the only European city to resort to such measures in a bid to manage tourist numbers. Last week, Amsterdam banned new hotel construction and limited tourist stays to curb over-tourism. The government also restricted river cruises to maintain the city's livability for both locals and visitors.
If it is bringing a vibe to the city that people don't like, I think that's the people of the city's prerogative to not want to have that kind of tourism in their town.
Experts are watching these pilot programs closely. It remains to be seen if these measures will help or harm the economy. Meanwhile, tourism-related challenges continue across Europe. The balance between welcoming visitors and preserving local life is more critical than ever. Daniel Padwick, TRT World.
Let's cross now to Rome and speak to Alessandra Prianti, the president of the Italian Tourism Board. Alessandra, good to have you on the program. So international tourism rebounded last year, reaching pre-pandemic levels. How has that impacted Europe in terms of economic growth?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't really refer to the data of last year. We are now full on April and approaching May. So we're already noticing that we are a few digits away from the data of 2019. And as the very good piece before me mentioned, we are unfortunately back to what we were crying for help for at the end of 2019, which is too much tourism. And I don't like to call it over-tourism because it looks like a phenomenon. In reality, it's not a phenomenon. It's the result of some kind of bad managerial choices, because fluxes can be monitored, managed, and somehow we need to understand how the match between demand and offer can actually not harm the residents. Because if we consider tourists as temporary citizens, we need to take everybody's well-being into consideration.
So what are some of the things that can be done to manage tourists who want to come and see cities, as well as the needs of locals who are in those cities?
Well, first of all, the good thing about tourism is you can actually program and plan. So one main thing is to move in advance and to make sure there's a great dialogue between institutions and at both national, regional, local level and the private sector to make sure that for a country, for example, like Italy or like Turkey is, that we're blessed by our position in the Mediterranean, the climate, the beauty, the history. We have a lot to offer throughout the year. So the two key points is de-season, so produce or design products that can attract tourists outside of the main touristic moments, and also try to develop the more internal areas, the rural areas who have still a lot to offer. They are genuine, they're more, let's say, preserved in a way, and they can help decongestion the main points of attraction like Roma, Milan, Venice, Naples, or other cities like Florence that are suffering very much from the so-called over-tourism.
So when you talk about these strategies, let's look at a country like the UAE. They're injecting more than $13 billion into their tourism sector, and they want to attract 40 million visitors by 2030. So what are some of the strategies that they are using to achieve this goal?
Well, first of all, the UAE have done something which is incredibly pioneering. They were developing the airport hub, and therefore from there business tourism, and from business tourism leisure tourism. So their strategy was very well thought of, and they started well in advance. So then now they're fully equipped. They have a great range of touristic offer. They also have some very important touristic attraction, cultural attractions, museums, besides the beauty and the engagement and the joy of being in all the destinations in the UAE. The other thing that they're doing very cleverly is they're moving ahead in reconverting all the benefits of the tourism industry into strategic choices for sustainability. So now the UAE is becoming the hub, together also with Saudi Arabia, of reflecting on the new sustainable tourism strategies for the future. I think one of the key elements that will always make the UAE and again, now Saudi Arabia, a big competitor and an actual leader in tourism in the world, is their capacity to look ahead, to plan accordingly, and to make sure that everything is completely integrated.
Alessandra Priante, you've broken that down so well for us. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.